Alright, this is a bonus video, guys. Because I said I wasn't gonna make another video for this weekend, but you know what? What the fuck? Just make another one, make another 10. Anyway, so I left you guys with a lot of things to think about on that last video, right? I think I finished it off on a good note. Yeah, pretty much. I believe I finished, I just put it up yesterday, I believe I was finishing on, yeah, what were the gods, so-called gods. And now I know a lot of people saying, well, why does he keep saying so-called gods? I feel I should elaborate on that a minute. The reason why sometimes I say the so-called gods instead of just the gods is because what we from this reality, physical reality, perceive as the gods were actually not really gods at all. You're dealing with entities that are in non-physical realities, like, and let me just get on that in a minute. Like, the gods are real, and I've said this before in past videos. Like, what we call as the gods and all these great deities and things, they are real. A lot of people say, oh, they're not real. But yeah, you're right. They're not real if you, once again, base their reality against the laws of physics and, you know, the things that happen in physical reality. But they have a more of a mental, you could call it a psychic reality or a mental reality or a non-physical reality. And you could choose any one of those. I mean, they're all the same thing. But, you know, from that, you could pretty much say that their reality exists outside of, yeah, physical reality. And as we all know, like, once you cross over into these other states of non-physical reality, there's a lot of things going on. And these entities are very old, you know, I mean, just as we are very old. The only difference between most individuals in this reality and with them is that they know what they're doing. Like, they understand how their abilities work. They understand the limits of their powers, that there are no limits. This is why they're seen as the gods. And the reason when you know, multidimensional beings here in this reality fall into that human trap, it's very easy to be, how they say, duped and to fall victim to being, you know, odd and wild and wooed over things that other beings are doing, because you put yourself in that limitation box. And so from that point of view, anything that comes along and presents itself with psychic abilities, seeing the future, predicting things that are going to happen, if they tell you certain information and it comes true, you think, oh, they're the gods, they're so powerful. But, you know, it really is just ourselves with this information and other portions of ourselves. So, and I feel there's a lot of other things I need to get on too. It's like, throughout this history and this timeline, there's been plenty of stories of the gods coming through, angels, demons, tricksters. I love my tricksters. Tricksters coming through. I think I talked about tricksters way back. I can't even remember the number. There's a video going way back, and I went into the whole trickster thing. And, you know, what is a trickster? If you look at the history of trickster gods, it's like, all right, you know, it's like, you got to really think about this stuff, right? You have this being, this entity, this force of consciousness that has all these abilities and talents, but it's like, but why are they coming to the physical realm fucking with people, you know? Or why do they want to enter people's dream states or non-physical states? But mostly, like, why would they even want to be bothered with so-called humans? And the answer is actually a little bit more deeper than just, well, they're just mischievous, you know, and they like to break societies, and they want to cause trouble, and they're troublemakers, and it's not even about all of that. The reason they come through a lot of times into this physical reality or others, remember, when I say physical reality, I'm not just talking about this. There are many other physical realities and alternate timelines. Some of them are a little bit more easier to break into because of the cultural belief systems on a mass, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? For example, right? You have one culture, you say for example, you have one alternate reality, a parallel Earth that they have completely, they've never gone down the road of believing in like fantasy. They have no real imagination as far as, you know, sci-fi, spirituality, just anything that's outside of just, this is physical reality, this is how it is. When you have a reality like that, a trickster or a so-called God could enter there, but it's like they will have an easier time entering a reality where those thoughts are already within the minds of the masses of individuals in that reality, because it only takes one. You only need one conscious being to be the gateway for these other multidimensional beings to enter into that reality. But when you have that multiplied by tens of thousands of billions of people that all share the same kind of cultural belief, it makes it even easier. See what I'm trying to say? So it's like, when you have a culture that believes in the spirituality, a culture that believes in, you know, other realities, the spiritual world and all that, that makes it all the easier for them to break through. They don't have to break through, they just come on through. Through the belief system. It's like the gateway. The belief is the gateway to other realities. We talked about that in the last video. It's like, if you want to get to another reality, you have to change your, you know, perceptions, and you alter your state of consciousness. But that also connects to belief, because if you don't believe you can do it, you can't do it. And I talked about this in another video, maybe a few more back, that a lot of people want results, they want to see things happen, but you have to believe it first. Belief is the key. Then comes the willpower to make it happen. You know, where you believe it's going to happen and you just make it happen. But yeah, so getting back to these trickster gods and things. So why would an all-powerful being want to enter a reality with supposedly non-powerful beings, you know, just low-level humans from their point of view? It's very simple, and here's the answer: boredom. You have to understand, I mean, just because you have all these abilities and talents doesn't necessarily mean that all of a sudden you're like all-knowing and omnipotent, which I've talked in the past about. There is no omnipotence, because omnipotence simply means lack of development, and you can't go any further if you know everything, because there's no purpose to it. And let's just say, for argument's sake, if someone or something was omnipotent, then it would have to give a reason and purpose to things just to keep itself interested, because there would be no purpose of anything. If you were all omnipotent, you knew everything that could happen and would happen at all times, and down to the smallest, minute, you know, nano. It's like, the only way you could really enjoy anything is by just giving it a reason and giving things a purpose. But it's boredom. I'll give you an example, right? So I can break it down for people in this reality. They have video games, right? Like if you play video games, you have a game like, what's that game? It's called Grand Theft Auto, right? I played that way back in the days, like PlayStation 2 when it first came out, or whatever. Now, they had a code in the game, right? And the code was a cheat code. So in the game, you know, Grand Theft Auto, you can look it up on the internet. You run around, you take out crime bosses, but you know, you can use guns. It's an open world game. It's an open simulation. They try to make it as close to real life as possible, so you can walk around, steal a car, shoot somebody, drive away. You can do all these things, right? Now, within that game, someone eventually made a code, and the code was, you put in this code and you can have unlimited access to all weapons. So you want a machine gun, you got a machine gun. You want a rocket launcher, you get a rocket launcher. You get pretty much everything that you need to just walk through the game. Police are no threat. Nothing's a threat to you. You're unstoppable. An unstoppable force. But what happens once you do that? It's happened to me, and it's happened, I'm sure, to many others. The game doesn't last that very long as far as the fun level, because the fun was in the purpose of the missions. You know, you got to go rob a bank, you got to go take out these drug dealers, you got to do this, you got to do that, pick up a stripper, whatever's in these games now. That is the goal. But once you have the unlimited power and you cannot be stopped, the goal just vanishes like that. It's gone. It's like, well, and it's happened to me with that specific game. It's like, once I really wanted that game back in the days. Like, I gotta have this game. It's the greatest game ever. Yo, as soon as I put that code in, it was like an automatic death sentence, because I literally lost interest in the game within, you know, like what, like an hour or something? You know, because once you walk around, you're just shooting everything. You're blowing up police cars. Nothing can touch you. The value is gone now. Coming back to the story. So when you have beings that are in non-physical realities, you know, the question is like, well, why would a multi-dimensional being of, you know, infinite power want to come to a physical reality that has a bunch of limitations? And it's like, you have to remember, man, we're all multi-dimensional, right? And a lot of us are very old. A lot of us are very ancient in human terms, you know, language. We're very ancient, we're very old. In terms of time, even though we know that there is no time by now, but in terms of time, if you want to look at it from this point of view, when you've been around, say, for a couple billion years, and you have the power to just manifest whatever you want by the smallest fraction of a thought, it just manifests, things start to lose value. I mean, I talked about this in the past. A lot of people say, well, you know, when I die and I'm gonna have all my power, I'm gonna have sex with all kind of women, and I'm gonna do this. And like, yeah, but that, how long do you honestly think that's gonna last? You know, once you've done every single position in the Kama Sutra book, plus the hidden bonus editions for that, sex will become boring, you know. And it's like, this is why you see some individuals like psychopaths and things like that, like, well, not just psychopaths, but just some individuals, like, they get, you know, they want to murder. They come up with these grandiose plans of chaos. They want to take over the world. They want to do all these things. It's like, why are they doing all that? Because it's boredom. You know, they've done everything that they thought they needed and wanted to do already, and there's nothing beyond it. Those sensations have been deadened, you know, because they have so much money. When you have enough money and power to literally just, you can buy an island, you can buy, you know, whatever you want. It's like your interests start going down other pathways, because it's like, if I'm a multi-trillionaire and I have enough money to just say, you know what, today I'm buying 10 islands. When you have that level of money and ability to do things in a physical reality, it gets bored. You've had every woman or man or whatever from every flavor on the planet. At some point, you're like, it does nothing for you. And then that's when you start going down to more darker pathways sometimes, where now you want to go hunting, but not just animals. You have all the game and all the lions and tigers. Now you want to hunt people because there's a challenge in that. But you guys know what I'm trying to say. It's like, the same applies to these beings and these other realities. They have so much power that, and I'm talking about us too, you know, but mostly those of us who are not here right now in this reality, they have so much power that it gets bored for them. Just think about it, you know, they talk about the war of the gods. There's a lot of wars that go on in non-physical reality. The point is, though, like, what's the purpose of a war if no one can die? And we can't die, you know. That's why physical reality, these psychopaths have come here, and you know, they play this out on a grand scale of having wars. We gotta get a military going. We gotta get the biggest military. We gotta do all this, because this is the only place that you see the effects of that. Back in the other reality, you have a big war, crazy wars, amazing wars, but no one's really getting hurt. You know, it's like, you know, their level of destruction and hurt and regret or whatever is really based on the limitations that they have of their own abilities. So if I believe I'm all powerful and you believe that you're all powerful and we have a so-called war, what are we winning at it? Besides, really, it comes down to a battle of creativity of what can I muster up, what can I imagine that's so great to try to overpower your thoughts and make you believe that I'm actually winning something. But we ain't winning shit. We're both, you know, at power. We both unlimited, you know, beings of unlimited power. So so these trickster gods and these other so-called gods, you know, they come through these realities. Like, why are they tricksters? They're very famous for bothering humans, you know, doing things, you know, shaking up the pot. And it's because they're so bored out of their minds that you know, a lot of us, when we die and move on, right, like we remember, you know, all of us remember our lives. But some of us, you know, we have moved on so far and we advanced so far. I'm not saying there's nothing to do, but you born. I mean, I'm talking now. Let me just make this clear. Like, just because you die and you're all powerful doesn't mean automatically you're gonna get bored and have nothing to do. There's an infinite amount of things to be creative about. But some individuals get bored with that or whatever they're doing, and they can't see any further. So it's like, all right, I'll give you an example. You're a multi-dimensional being. You're in these other realms. You've manifested. You've experienced what it's like to be a fungus. You experience what it means to just be air and, you know, colors, the color blue, what it's like. And you've done all these things, right? And then in the midst of all that, you go, a thought pops up. You know, we're made of energy. We're not physical, but a random impulse pops up. And you go, what can I do next? And you go, wait a minute. There was that place I used to be in. What was that reality I was in, you know, a couple billion years ago? What was that place? Earth. Yeah. I remember that place. It was interesting. I wonder what they're up to now. So you pop over to there's an unlimited, infinite amount of Earths, but you pop up to one, you know, any of them, and you go, how have they advanced in this Earth? I used to be a human. Yeah, I remember that. And you go, see, they've updated themselves now. They had a nuclear bomb. That's weird. Okay. You know, and they go, you know what? I think I'll pop down to Earth for a little bit and see what's going on with them. And then they come to our reality. And you see this in comics, right? And I bring up comics all the time because comics have a way in movies of telling the truth, but only those who are in the know. You take DC Comics, for example, right? You get the fifth, they tell you this stuff about, you get the fifth dimensional being, Mr., oh God, they call him Mixie, Mr. Mixuplik or Mixuplik or something like that. You can look it up. For sure, he calls himself Mixie. But I think he's called Mr. Mixuplik or Mixie-Pik, whatever. He's a fifth dimensional being. He pops down to fuck with Superman on the regular because, you know, the only way to get him to go back is like, you know, it's comics, so you have to get him to say his name backwards, but there's power in that. Check it, power of names, right? The only way he can be sent back to his reality is he has to be pretty much tricked into saying his own name backwards, and he gets sent back. How I see that as translates to me, from my level of knowledge, that the only way he could be sent back is by himself. When whoever, either Superman or whoever, tricks Mixie into saying his own name backwards, what that really translates to me is that the only way to defeat him and to get him out of physical reality is, one, you have to get him to say his name backwards, but not just saying his name backwards. He has to have that belief that by saying his name backwards is a way of him defeating himself. So he has to believe in that weakness first of, if I say my name backwards, it'll send me back to the fifth dimension, you know. But what if he didn't believe that? Would it still work? So that's the point I'm trying to make, man. It's like, you know, connecting to that, he defeats himself, you know. But when he does enter the reality, physical reality, he's this ultimate being. Nothing could really stop him. I mean, as powerful as people think Superman is, he can't stop Mixie because he's a fifth dimensional being. He's outside of space and time. And from that Earth's point of view in the comic, he's like a god. He can manifest things in a whim. He can snap his fingers. He can create any reality he wants. And, you know, interesting character. I mean, I remember I read another comic once. I think it was called Emperor Joker. And in that comic, the Joker tricks, you know, Mixie into getting all his power. Mixie was going to give, I'm calling him Mixie for sure because I don't want to mess up the name, but he wanted to give the Joker 1% of his power just to fuck with, you know, Superman and Batman and all these guys. He wanted to see what would he do with it and how much damage he could do, because he got tired of being tricked by Superman or whatever. So what happened was, though, the Joker tricked him, and he ended up getting 99 instead of 1%. He got 99% of a fifth dimensional being's power. So the Joker went, of course, fucking crazy and took over the world. And it took a lot. It was like a long storyline where they had to, you know, a lot of people didn't realize it. and they didn't realize they were trapped in some kind of alternate timeline. The Joker had completely taken over. And there's some truth in that comic when you read it, right? Because there's this one scene, right? I gotta go in a minute, but there's this one scene where they end up in hell. Some group, I forgot who, it was some group of people, they end up in hell, and they meet the devil. And the devil's like, I could send you to another reality if you want, you know, an alternate reality. But what about you? You're not affected. He's like, there's not just one hell. There's an infinite number of hells, you know, and I'm the devil in all of them. So, you know, what he was basically trying to say is that his reality as the devil was that he was the devil pretty much in all realities. He was the devil of all of them. So even if the realities change, it wouldn't really affect him that much. But yeah, he was able to send them into a pocket universe that was outside of that reality. But, you know, but anyway, back to the story. You can check that out if you want. Emperor is called Emperor Joker. Anyway, so yeah, man, these fifth dimensional beings, multi-dimensional beings, tricksters, whatever you want to call them, they basically get bored and they pop back into physical reality. And it's like, called a trickster, so when you, this is the joke, this is what the tricksters find funny, right? Because I'll give you the info on the inside. The reason they find it hilarious is because the real joke is not, oh, he, we're playing jokes on humans, is that, ha, you also have the same power. You all have the same power, but you just don't realize it. You see what I'm trying to say? And that's what the joke is. It's like, man, these guys are idiots. I have all this power, and they have the same power, but they're just in a trance, entranced by physical reality, running around, football game, gotta get my 401k up, gotta get my rims, my gold rims, gotta get my house in the Hampton. Meanwhile, the others, our other brethren, are running around, jumping through universes, creating stuff, man. There's another, I gotta go, man, soon, but there's another drama out right now. It's called Legion. Gotta check that out. So much truth, man, and people say, oh, it's just a TV drama, it's basically coming. Really quickly, you have this character named David Haller. David Haller is basically a Omega level mutant, and he's the son of Professor X, Professor Xavier from the X-Men comics, right? The bald-headed guy, and he's his son. And pretty much throughout the comic series, and in this new drama now on FX, I believe, he thinks he has schizophrenia, and maybe he does, but he's an Omega level mutant, and within one of his power sets is that he has all these individual conscious beings within himself, and each being has their own power. Now, you can see how this connects to what I've been talking about for all these, you know, we're on 79th video now. You know, recently in the drama, he created his own astral realm. What have I been talking about all this time? You know, they put these things, and the drama's good. I'm not gonna knock the drama. I do like the drama, it's good. But they put these things out, and people just watch and they go, oh yeah, you know, David Hall, he made his own astral realm, man. That was a cool episode. But what people fail to realize is that it's not just a comic, it's not just a drama. You actually do have this power to do these things. We're all Omega level mutants if we want to be. But check out the drama, man, it's good. And yeah, so once again, I don't know, maybe I'll make another video on this about the Trickster Gods and the reality, but I think I pretty much said a lot. But yeah, man, so just keep up with your studies, man, because if you've been paying attention recently, there's a lot of things I can't say. Well, it's not that I can't say, but a lot of things I don't want to say, because I really want you guys to think for yourself. But throughout the course of these videos, a lot of you get picked up on certain hints I've been dropping, things I've been saying, and I've been saying them in certain ways to get you to think about them, to trigger your mind, your consciousness. Who am I? What am I? That's another thing. It could be a mystery. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's something. But who or what am I? Beyond just being some English teacher in Japan, you know, who or what are you? Things to think about, things to meditate on. But all I'm gonna say is this on that. A lot of individuals are sitting around waiting for some, you know, judgment day and all this. And I said it yesterday, Not only are the gods still alive, whispering in your ears and whispering your thoughts in your consciousness, but they also walk by you every day. They sit next to you on the trains. They're in your offices working. They're all around us. They've taken on physical forms to enjoy this reality, and most don't even realize it. But most importantly, you got the same abilities. So it's like something to think about, guys. What am I? What are you? Meditate. All right, it's your brother Set taking off. SUMARI to everybody out there. Get back at y'all. Love y'all. Later.